Hi guys, welcome to my channel and to my Back to Beauty No Buy year. This year I am concentrating on using my makeup and not buying it. Today I'm using my makeup to do a palette bingo with the Revolution Emily Edit The Wants palette. This is sort of unofficially a collab with my girl Angela from Beauty by Angela. I'm going to have her channel and her video linked below. Turns out great minds think alike. We both had a palette bingo planned for today, which is Saturday when you're seeing this. And she had me pick random numbers for her. I had her pick random numbers for me. And that's how it came to be a collab. We both have been trying to do more palette bingos in 2019 because it's just a great way to get a fresh perspective from a palette and maybe find a color combination that you wouldn't have come up with on your own. So Angela did pick 5 numbers for me, and we're gonna get into that in just a second. But I do want to make sure that you know that this concept was originally come up with from a friend of Emily, Noel, and Kristin Gehm. And I will have his Instagram linked below. His name is David. He's a fabulous MUA. And he came up with the concept of palette bingo. So I think we should all be really grateful for that concept. And I wanted to give him a shout out in this video. So the shades that Angela chose for me, like I said, we chose them at random. This is going to be a little confusing because the palette is upside down. But the first number she chose for me was number 3, which is this shade right here called Prayer. And then the second shade she chose for me was number 12, which is Pi-Fi. And then the next number she chose for me was number 22, which is this shade right here called Heartbeat. And then number 13, which is this shade right here called Oh Heavens. And the last shade she chose for me was number 17, which is Top Story, which is the gold in this palette. So I hope you'll forgive the wet dog look until the end of the video. And on that note, let's get into it. P.S. Lucille is singing the song of her people in the background, so if you hear her, that's it. She's just telling every cat in the neighborhood that her bowl is only 3/4 full. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it. I'm going to try and make this as spring-like as possible because I'm totally feeling spring vibes. So I'm going to first go into the shade Pi-Fi and put that on the outer corner as well as up into the crease a little bit for our deepening shade. And sometimes, it depends on the shade, but sometimes I like to do the crease slash deepening shade first and then blend it out with the transition color. And then sometimes I like to do it the other way. It just depends on the shade, how I feel about the shadow, and based on previous experiences. So that's what we're going to do. And as much as possible, I am going to try, heavy on the try, to keep this light and springy, like I said. Oh, and I forgot to say that I do already have my Urban Decay primer potion on, as well as I did set it down with this first shade in the palette, which is called The Cream. I am so happy to drag this palette back out. And it's funny that Angela and I had the same idea, because I really wanted to do a palette bingo with this palette because I kind of forgot to include this palette in my spring capsule makeup collection video. This palette definitely, it's good for every season, and I did a video with my girl Angela to that effect called Emily Edit The Wants for every season. But I definitely think of this palette when I think spring, and I'm not for sure how that escaped me. All right, I think that's looking pretty good. I'm now going to go into this shade right here called Prayer, and this is like a beautiful dusty rose, very similar to my sweater here. And I'm going to use the same brush and just blend this out. I'm going to start on the inner part of my crease and transition area and go from there. And I have to say, of the more mid-tone, light to mid-tone shades in the palette, Prayer is definitely one of my favorites. Beautiful. Okay. We may go back in and deepen up a little bit again with Pi-Fi, but we're going to go into this shade right here called Heartbeat. It is one of the shimmer shades in this palette. I'm just first gonna go in with a dry brush and lay that down, and then I will go in and punch it up either with my finger or a wet brush. Alright, I think I will first try the good old phalange and try and punch this up a little bit. Emily always says to use a swiping motion whilst laying down the shimmers in this palette, and I do agree that that works best. Okay, wet brush it is. Pull out the Fix Plus here. I hope you guys are having a good day today. I am. I think I'm gonna go back into Pi-Fi just a little bit. And I think I'm gonna use a smaller brush for that. I'm gonna use this teeny tiny little blender guy from Morphe. Definitely one of my favorite Morphe brushes. And I'm just gonna deepen up a little bit with that Pi-Fi out on the outer corner. And then of course I'm gonna bring it up into the crease a little bit. And I love this brush because it really just stays right in the crease. It doesn't carry up too far. Alrighty, and then going back into our original brush, we go back into the Dusty Rose shade called Prayer and just blend out the crease a little bit. Alright, so the next shade we're going to go into is Top Story right here. That is the gold in the palette. Again, I'm going to lay that down dry on about the inner third of the lid, and then we'll see if we want to punch it up with spray or leave it a little bit muted. I'm hoping this gold will sort of lighten things up with this shade Heartbeat, and so we can read a little bit more spring and a little bit less fall. I don't know, what would you call this? Fall-ish? What are you gonna do? I've had a lot worse in terms of shades for palette bingo, so. All right, I like how it's kind of fading into this Heartbeat color, so I'm going to leave that way, but I do think I'm gonna go in with a little bit of spray just to punch up the very inner corner with that gold. Let's try a phalange. Definitely seeing some texture on my eyelids today. I think I mentioned it in a recent video that the current eye creams that I have are not working for me. So yeah, you may be seeing some new eye creams come to my channel soon. I am on a no buy year, but I'm also not willing to use crappy products that are adverse to my skin, that kind of thing. So anywho, I'm gonna go back into that beautiful plum called Pi Fi, and I'm going to put that on the outer half or so of the lower lash line. Also going to make sure we have a connection between the outer V and the lower lash line. I'm gonna tiny bit more of Pi Fi and then make sure we are connected. Such a pretty plum. For the rest of the lash line, I'm gonna go back into my transition shade, which is Prayer. Start on the inner part and blend it out into Pi Fi. It's tempting to take the Heartbeat shade on the lower lash line, but I'm not feeling it. Curious if any of you have this palette, if you're still using it, if you're still loving it. Just curious. Okay. So my last shade that I need to use is this one right here, which is Oh Heavens. This is like a cream satin shimmery shenanigans. So I'm gonna use that on the brow bone, and then I think I'm going to use an extra shade for the inner corner. I don't think that's cheating. I think, as far as I remember the rules, you can add shades, but you have to use all the shades that were chosen for you. So I am going to go ahead and add one shade. Okie dokie. So for the inner corner, I want to use the shade Eve Rose. This is one of the shades, if you can see that little shiny bit there and there, it is one of the shades that kind of seals over in the pan, but it is beautiful. It is a duochrome, and I do think the colors within that shade are going to look nice on the inner corner. If not, we're about to find out. I feel like I need a little lightening on the lid, so I think I'm going to try to layer a little bit of Oh Heavens, which is one of my chosen shades, the cream shimmer that we put on the brow bone. I think I'm going to go ahead and put some of that on the lid. Yeah, there we go. That's much better. And just lighten it up that way. You can still see the gold tone, but it's kind of smoothing and a little bit more brightening. Okay, so when I come back, I will have liner and mascara and not a wet dog look, and then we will do something about lips. 2 hours later. Just kidding. Yay, a decent hair day. I'm so excited. All right, so I used a metallic brown liner on the tight line, my Laura Mercier Caviar Stick in rose gold on the inner rim, lower inner rim, and my L'Oreal Voluminous Original Mascara in burgundy. Trying to work on this before she dries out. And then for lips, we're gonna give it a shot here. This product is in my Shop My Stash for April, and I've yet to find a look that I want to pair it with. So we're gonna give it a shot today. This is the Huda Beauty Metallic Lip Strobe. Is that what it's called? Just Lip Strobe in the shade Angelic. And I'm gonna start off with my MAC lip liner in Whirl, which is the My Lips But Better color for me. Alrighty. And now for the lip strobe. This is very metallic. But I have been loving lip gloss for spring, and so I'm glad I found a look that this works with. I hope you enjoyed this palette bingo. I think you will be seeing a lot more of the Wants palette in the upcoming month of May, so stay tuned for that. And on that note, I hope all of your makeup days are absolutely beautiful random makeup days, and I will see you in my next video soon.